Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Fitness Education Online podcast. I am super excited because I got a very special guest this week, all the way from Ottawa in Canada. A little bit about this person. She's the host / organizer / founder of the Activate FitCon, which is a CEC-based fitness convention for fitness professionals. It's usually over there in Ottawa, Canada, but obviously the last couple of years it's been online, and I've been lucky enough to be a presenter there, and I've got to say it's amazing. Everyone listening to this, make sure it's probably going to be face-to-face next year, so go and book a ticket to Canada, or if it is online, you can catch it online. There's about 200 to 250 attendees that attend. Now, it's hard enough to get 200 people to any event, so the fact that she's done that has been pretty cool. She's been doing it for 8 years, running that convention, but more important still, she's been in the fitness industry for 21 years. Now, my take, I think it's easy to be successful, a year, 2 years, you wake up at 5, work till 9, do a million free sessions, work your ass off, work for $10 an hour or whatever. Okay, you can do it for a year or two, but to maybe 5, can leverage yourself, but 21 years, she's obviously doing something right, and also something smart as well. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking myself and I'll introduce her. All the way from Ottawa, Canada. Let's introduce Connie. Connie, how are you?
Hi, thank you, Jono. I am well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, I'm excited. I completely forgot what your surname was, and then I was going to read it live, and I'm like, I have no chance to read. How do you pronounce that?
Beaulieu. So how's your French accent?
My French accent is about as good, not great, about as good as my IQ. And that's pretty low.
So yeah, Connie B works for me.
Connie B, yeah, I should have said that. Sounds better. I mean, I'm usually the one with the most complicated surname in the conversation, but you've got me.
Sure, I beat you.
Well, is that the French part of Canada? Is it Ottawa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Ottawa is very bilingual. We are the capital of Canada, so it's kind of mandatory that you have to speak both languages. Although I often say sometimes it's false advertising because I'm not super strong in French. I'm very good at comprehension, but not at speaking. So, but yes, we are bilingual up here.
Your first language is English?
Yeah.
Thank God, because my French is horrible.
I won't make you speak French.
Hey, Connie, I like to start my podcast off with a quote or mantra that inspires you or fires you up. Have you got one for us?
I have always used no challenge, no change. I believe that we find our biggest growth through challenges and overcoming the challenges. And so that to me is something I use with my clients, I use for myself, and it's just something that keeps me going. And maybe remember why you started. I like that one too, which is why it's on my wall.
Love both of them, especially the challenge one. The way I look at it, like I actually love it when things are hard and a challenge. I love it because if it's easy, I know that anyone can do it. And if I'm just doing stuff that's easy, I'm not going to get ahead in life because any idiot can do it. But if it's something that's hard, I know that if I just stick through, I'm going to get the benefit and I'm going to get ahead of people, because even if I'm not better than them, half the people are just going to give up because it's too hard. I'm just going to win on nutrition. People bigger than me, smarter than me, stronger than me, more connected than me. I'm going to win just because I don't give up, because, okay, it's hard. Great. So let me do it.
It's true. And I think the reward is that much greater, right? When you know that what you've overcome something challenging and you get to the other side, it's like, rewarding.
Bang on. Well, that's a good point, because I just started jiu-jitsu classes,
Okay.
And I've got a little cousin that I always like to beat up and wrestle. And, I beat him up and I win, but it doesn't make me feel good,
Right.
But if I can beat someone that's, done jiu-jitsu, okay, It's harder. It's way harder than beating up my 5-year-old cousin, but it actually feels good. So I love that you've brought that up. Now, Connie, you've been in the industry 21 years. Did I read that right?
So I was certified through the NSCA as a CSCS in the year 2000. So it's been 21 years of being certified. But prior to that, I went to college and I was working as an intern. And before that, I was a physiotherapist assistant. So I would say like 25 years where I've been actively servicing people through exercise.
That's crazy. And if you, you'll probably listen to this on the podcast, so you can't see Connie, but when she told me, I thought she said she's 21 years old. She's like, yeah, I've been in the fitness industry 21 years. And I saw the photo. I'm like, wait, I think she's saying she's 21 years old and she's just started in the fitness industry, but you've actually been in there for 21 to 25 years.
You got it. Exactly. I'm in mid 40s now. I'm not afraid to shine. You know, I do have the grays because our hair salons are in lockdown. So you can actually see my 21 years.
Yeah, I think I can see one gray hair there compared to my whole beard and hair, and I'm 25 years old. But anyways, what I want to talk about today, Connie, is your journey and how other trainers can essentially emulate it. Because 21 years most people find it hard enough to be successful in the fitness industry. It's a side thing. It's a bit of fun on the side. You know, they maybe a mom and they've got kids, but they just do a few classes here and there, or maybe it's a it's a guy, but his partner's got a full-time job making good money, and he does a bit of fun on the side. So I'm just going to hand it over to you. Start where you want to start. Tell us how do we be successful for 21 years in the fitness industry?
I love that you said that. You actually touched on a couple of things, because I am a mom and I have a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old. And I remember when I was getting to that stage of my life, I knew I wanted to have kids, and I was getting to that stage and I was like, how am I going to do this? Right? Like, we don't have, I don't know what you guys are like down in Australia, but most women in the corporate workforce have maternity leave. And as a personal trainer, self-employed right now, there was no maternity leave. So that got scary, and so that was a crossroads where I'm like, okay, I need to take this. This is my career. I need to make it work. But I'll get to that. So I started as I mentioned, as a physiotherapist assistant. I thought what I wanted to do was physiotherapy. And once I started doing physio as an assistant, I was doing the, all of the floor work, the program designs, the walking them through the floor. And I would do a little bit of the modality stuff, but where I found my most passion was helping people through exercise. And so I then realized that I want to be more on the preventative side. And I ended up going into high performance training because I also was very much drawn to sports, athletics, being in that team. Everything about sports was me and what I loved. And so I became certified as a CSCS. I started working in a club in Toronto, Canada, called the Sports Clubs of Canada. Now, in that facility, it was a corporate health club. I didn't think I was going to be in the corporate health club world. It's just, commercial health club, I should say, right? The big box. But once I started there,
and that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So once I started there, all the personal trainers were very professional. I could tell that they loved what they did, and a lot of them were mature and were making something of it, right? They were making a career of it. And I thought, oh, well, this is interesting. And so I followed that path. And what I did is I grew through that commercial health club world. So I did personal training, I did membership sales, I became a personal training director, I became a fitness manager. So I kind of dabbled in all of the different areas. I knew ultimately that I wanted to work for myself. I think most personal trainers are entrepreneurs at heart, right? And so when you're in it for this long, at some point, you're going to go on your own. And so in 2007 is when I took the big leap.
How long were you in the commercial?
So I had been in there for, 8 years, if you consider my internship as well. So for 8 years, I was working, I guess you could say, for someone else. Where my clients were there. I didn't have to do any marketing. I didn't have to do any work. I was just on the gym floor. You get your new members and you train them.
Quick question there, just so I can get my head around the differences in Australia and Canada. So usually in Australia, in that sort of place, you'll pay the gym rent and then you'll get the money off the clients. Was that the same over there, or were you working for the gym and the gym would pay you per session?
Exactly. So there is that opportunity here in Canada as well, but most large commercial health clubs, you are their employee. So they hire you and they pay you based on, the hours that you submit via invoice. So I was paid hourly. If you train 30 hours a week, you submit your invoice and then you get paid every 2 weeks. So
gotcha. Do you pick your pay rate, or is it a standard? Hey, if you're a level 1 trainer, you charge this, level 2 this.
Yep, they did have levels as well, and they still do. And it's based on education, experience. So you do start out level 1, and then you can work, I mean, depending on where you're working, you know, level 3, 4, 5. And so as I progressed through my 8 years, I climbed up the ranks for sure. And then I got into more management. Management is where I spent the last 3 or 4 years. Like literally half of my commercial health club world was spent in management, at which point you're salaried. And then any personal training you do is additional.
Gotcha. Yeah. Just so I can get my head around this, because this is actually quite interesting for me, and I think for the listeners as well, just some of the differences here. Can I ask what the rate was? What were you, what was the client paying per session? And what would you take of that?
Let's remember, I left in 2007, right? Okay. So this is quite a few years ago. At that time, if I can even remember, I believe they were paying 70. Okay. It was between 70 and 80 at the time. Yep. And then it works out to approximately 40%. So
you get $30 per.
Exactly. So it's about 40% to the trainer, and then, you know, 60% to the health club.
And could you pick your hours? Do you sort of, how does that side of, do you have to work a minimum X amount of hours? Do they just book you in people whenever? How does that side of it work?
Yeah. So the way it was working when I was there is we only wanted full-time, or I suppose you could say they only wanted us to hire. So as I was a manager, we were only able to hire full-time personal trainers. So they wanted every personal trainer that came in to be there full time. So we were working, you know, and full time for them was 25 to 30 hours a week of clients. And so, and that was great, but you know, they didn't provide you with 25 to 30 hours a week of clients. So you had to do a lot of free time. You had to do free consultations. You had to walk around the gym floor. You had to do your orientation hours, which you would get paid very nominal, right? Like minimum wage. But yes, so no, you were handed some new clients that would happen to buy a personal training package, but for the most part, you had to hustle and find your own business.
Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. We're on the same page. I've got a good picture there of how that works. So doing that for 8 years, and you were ready to, you took the plunge.
I took the plunge. So I knew that I wanted to be, you know, working for myself at some point. So 2007, I decided, it was the same year I got married. I decided, hey, new chapter, let's just do it. And so I went out on my own. And I started at the time where boot camp in Canada was becoming popular. And so I started one-on-one training in home and semi-private training in home. And before social media, right? So I was trying to find clients. Old-fashioned marketing, and then
quick question there. Were you able to take any of your clients from the gym, or that was sort of you get fined?
That's a no-no.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, can people find you? Of course they can find you, especially now with social media, but at that time there wasn't. And I was a little piece out, you know, it was about a 20-minute drive from the gym, and we know the catch basin's usually about 13 minutes, right? So I was a little bit further out. So I was kind of starting from scratch. And, but I knew boot camp was just starting out. I had people ask me about it, and I was kind of on the fence because I'm a personal trainer. I'm not a fitness instructor. So for me, it was like, that was kind of scary world. But I started it, and it became extremely successful because I was the first one in my neighborhood. And it's still going strong actually this year, if we're allowed to get outside, depending on our restrictions. So for 13 years, I've been running a boot camp. And I continue to.
You're still running it yourself?
Yep. Okay. Still me, just me. I've hired contractors for like when I was pregnant. I took a few months off, but just me. And then I run personal training and small group training. So I have a 900 square foot studio in my home, but it's separate to the living quarters. You know, so it's very separate. So it's like a professional studio in home that hasn't been open since last March, but I digress. And so I'm doing that, and I have a corporate site. So I run corporate fitness classes as well. And of course, online training.
Awesome. So we'll take us back there. So you sort of yada those 13 years, you know, was it just, hey, I just got out of the gym, you know, was successful straight away and just was smooth sailing for the next 13 years, or what happened there?
Yeah, I want to say I've been fortunate. And I always say that I've been really fortunate. I haven't been lucky in the sense that it hasn't been like, oh, lucky me, right? Like I've worked really hard, and I put everything into my business, and I've sacrificed a lot, and there's not, you know, a lot of times where I will cancel a session, for example. So I'm very committed to my business and to my clients, and so I feel like that has created success for me, because I'm always showing up. But starting out, yeah, it was scary. It was like, oh gosh, I'm leaving 8 years of salary. I had salary, I was a manager, to good luck on your own, right? And so, yeah, but it worked out.
Okay. Were you ever overworked at any stage? Was there any stage where you're like, hey, I've got to work hard, I've got to, you know, grow my business. Okay, great, here it's big, but now I'm just working a whole heap of hours. My fitness is dropping down, or, you know, my social life, or my marriage, or my family, like any of that.
I'll tell you where that happened.
Okay.
That happened more in the gym than it happened on my own. Because when I stepped out on my own, one of the biggest things, you know, one of the biggest rewards for working for yourself is creating your own schedule. And so I was able to create that schedule. And right now, I always take Fridays off. So I work Monday to Thursday, but I work hard. And like you said, has there been times where I've wanted to get quit or been tired of the unstable hours? I think I just always, especially in the last, you know, since 2007, I've created what I wanted to create. So yes, there was a time where I was doing, you know, 6 a.m., 7 a.m.s, and then 7 p.m.s. I'm like, I can't do this, especially when I have kids. I can't continue that schedule. And so I took that into my own hands, saying, look, this is your business. You can say no to people, right? We look at business like, oh, we need to service everybody. But at the end of the day, like you said, you're going to start to lose interest, lose your passion, lose your own fitness, lose your life. What we've seen people sadly lose families, lose houses, you know, it happens. And so I had to know when to stop. And so I forego mornings. I stopped doing mornings. And I started just doing more daytime and then evenings.
Love it. Yes. Let's spend a minute there, because I think that's such a good point on two different sides of things. I think point number one is like, I can't remember the exact words you used, but you said you created what you wanted, you know, or I'm a big visualizer, you know, and also planner. You know, I think what's important as a fitness professional is what's the end goal. You know, like if you're taking a client here, taking a client there, and, you know, charging here and charging there, and like you need it to make ends meet, like things aren't just going to magically work themselves out. You know, what I like to do is take out a piece of paper. Okay, in an ideal world, what does it look like? You know, I want to, my background's in boot camp as well. So I was like, all right, look, I want to work 1 hour a day. That's what I want to do. You know, I'm going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. I'm going to do Tuesday, Thursday evening, and I'm going to do Saturday morning. That's my schedule there. I only want to work 1 hour, but I'm going to spend a few hours, obviously, got to spend the support side of things as well, making sure these people are happy, and the sales and marketing side of things as well. So I can actually cut these out. And then I do the math, you know, okay, cool. How much money do I want to make a week? Okay, I want to make $2,000 a week. Okay, what do I need to charge for that? Okay, or how many, what's the ratio I need? Okay, if I can get 40 people paying $50 per week, okay, there's my $2,000 working 1 hour a day. How can I do that? If I've got that plan in my head, it just becomes, then it's just coming to act. Then it's like, okay, well, you know, what do I need to do to have a $50 a week service? Well, I'm going to need to do this, and this. Okay, what am I going to need to do to get 40 people down there? Well, I need to do this, and this. But if there's a plan and you visualize that plan, it's like, it's so much easier. And you find a way, you know, like you sort of said, look, I haven't been lucky. It's just, you just found a way. So, hey, here's what I need to do. Okay, let me try this. It either works or it doesn't work. And if you've got that in the back of your mind, ideas pop up in the shower, when you're driving, you speak to a friend, you know? So, but only if you have a plan. If you don't have that plan, sorry, we're going to say something?
Yeah, touching on that, goals too, right? So working in the health club world, one of the things that we dislike the most is those sales goals that are put on us every month as personal trainers. We're like, we serve and we just want to train people. We don't want to sell. But I'll tell you what, that carried over into my own business, but not dollar signs, more like goal setting monthly. So I need X amount of sessions a week to you know, continue the income coming in that I want to have. And then what am I worth? And then breaking it down by the hour, like you're saying, exactly. in order to ensure that you can hit your budget every month for your own living, right? Your own living expenses and career.
Yeah, love it, 100%. And that comes into the next point as well, which is schedule. You know, where Connie said, you know, hey, I take Fridays off, I take mornings off. You know, I learned this one in the early days when I was working in a health club as well. So I used to be full time in there, right? Salary, like gym floor, a bit of personal training, probably similar to what you did, to be honest. And my shift was, what was it, Sunday to Thursday, right?
Oh, wow.
There was nothing worse than working Sunday.
On a Sunday.
This Sunday, and the 12 p.m. till 8 p.m. There was one fella, Stodge, if you're listening, he did the 5 a.m. to the 12 or whatever. That wasn't too bad though, because once you get to a certain age, you don't really party on Saturday night anyway. So it's like,
you just stay up. You just stay up.
Yeah, exactly. You know, or even then, you get up early on Sunday. Okay, you're done by 12. You know, have a nap. You know, enjoy the rest of the Sunday. But that was just the worst start to my week. And I made myself a promise then: never, ever, ever, ever am I working on Sundays. And
that's
even
amazing.
when I was, you know, young guy in my 20s, you know, no family, no girlfriend, no commitments, you know, worked my ass off, I still wouldn't work Sundays. You know, I had that, you know, that thing there. But I think those two things are very important if you want to be successful. Great. What's my goal? What do I want it to look like? What does that schedule look like? What can I maintain? And then it's just a matter of chipping away at that. Would you agree with that, Connie?
I totally agree with that. And you know, in my early days, I would train 8 or 9 clients in a day, right? Like back to back with a lunch break, like 4 in the morning lunch and then 5 later. Now I do maximum 4 per day, maximum 4 per day. I know that is my maximum, but I tell you what, the other thing is that I'm doing very little personal training now, and it's more groups, right? So the boot camp turned into small group training, and we knew that's how you survive, right? You get you can only train so many people on Monday at 5 o'clock. So that's where group training became the smart thing to do. You're making more money, they're paying less, they're still getting the same quality because you need to program it in a way that they're still getting a personal training experience. And so that's what I did. It's like, okay, maximum 4 hours per day is my mental capacity. And then I knew that I wanted Fridays off. It was one of those things that I just really wanted to achieve, is like a 4-day work week. So that's, you know, I'm doing anywhere from, well, now it's less because now of COVID, but, you know, 16-ish hours per week, training in the trenches. But of course there's stuff beyond that. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, is there's stuff behind the scenes. You have to do your program designs, you have to do your outreach, you have to do your servicing. And that's where you do
what I was going to add on there. You know, it's like, if you're doing 8 clients a day, like if you're doing 4 clients, let's say I've got 8 clients, Connie's got 4 clients. Her 4 clients are probably getting a better experience because she's not kicking them out to get to the next client, and she's not asked to do something. She's not, you know, doing it 2 or 3 days later because she's so busy with other stuff. And it's like, it's hard to explain, because it's like, when you're in that stage, you don't quite get it. If you're training 8 hours a day, sort of like, yep, I'll do it for you. Oh, I'm just so busy, I forgot, you know, and you think that's normal, right? But for the client, if they then go to another trainer and they're like, whoa, this trainer is so much more organized. They do that little they touch base after, like, you can charge a little bit more. They're not going to leave you, and you end up making more money working less, which is the goal. And that also brings us into that there as well. I'm not a fan of PT, right? I've always run boot camp myself. I don't like PT. I think it's good when starting off. You know, and like, one of the best things I ever did was work in that big box gym that I did, because I just did, you know, there's all different people. Even the free sessions, you know, even the orientations and that, you just learn so much, you know, like
so much.
Like I was there, I think maybe 2, 3, maybe 3 years. Like, there's no better. It was like an apprenticeship, you know. It's like, there's no way someone that's just training a handful of clients could. Say there's me who's working, you know, 40 hours a week for 3 years, seeing different people, you know, the stuff I learned there, you can't beat it. There's no way someone that's, you know, doing a handful of clients a week for 3 years, no matter how much they're studying, they're not going to beat it. So I think it's great. I think personal training's similar, because obviously it's easier to get better training one person before you train 2, before you train 4, before you train 20, right?
Because that's a science in itself.
100%. Like that's the thing there. It's like PT, it's just financially, it's just never going, you're capping yourself. You know, you can only make, as you mentioned, there's only so many hours in a day you can work. You can only make so much. Yep, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what would get me is when someone would cancel. And then the next person would cancel, and then the next person would cancel. And it's like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden, like my weekly pay is dropping significantly because people they didn't get up at 6 a.m. and they missed their session, right? And I know we have the 24-hour cancellation, but so yes, I know exactly what you're saying. Trading hours for dollars can only last so long.
Exactly. And that was the best thing about Bootcamp, especially back then, because it's like, it's funny. It's like, even if the price was the same, let's say back then it was roughly the same anyway, like say a 30-minute PT session was maybe $50, right? A week of bootcamp, $50, you know, much of muches, right? But if someone canceled the session, you wouldn't really charge them the $50, or, you know, you'd feel bad or whatever. But like if it's bootcamp, you charge people regardless, because it's like, because their mind says, oh, well, he's not running it just for me, you know, so I've got to pay anyway. And, you know, so it's just, that's one thing I liked about it. It was just easier to charge people without them coming. And I'm not saying that's why you do it. That probably sounds bad, but anyone that's running their own business sort of gets it. Hey, it's an X amount, it's X amount per week. You, as the client, you need to pay. If you don't make it, that should be your fault. You know, I'm trying to run a business here. I'm trying to live, yada, yada, yada. But it's easier to do that with bootcamp than PT, which is great. And I
have that on my agreement. I actually have that on my bootcamp and group training agreement, is that the onus is on you to attend these sessions, because it's not a paper session. You don't get your money back if you don't attend. And you know what? I believe there's value to paying. When people pay for something, they want to show up, right? It's like, oh, I just lost $20 because I didn't feel like going. And so, you know, they think about it more. And so I think that is a huge value to still, you know, losing them paying and then not coming.
No, 100% agree with that. And it's like the way I look at it as well, and I still recommend PTs do it like this as well, but it's easier with bootcamp, where you can sort of say, hey, here's my 12-week challenge. It's $50 a week. You get up to 5 sessions. You also get a home program. You also get some basic nutrition guidelines. You also get access to the Facebook group. We do the No Sugar Challenge here and the Walking Challenge here and the Bring a Friend here. It's like a program, and the sessions are just one part of the program.
Exactly.
Right? And this is, I think, a good sales tip for any personal trainer, especially bootcamp people. You got to get out of the mindset of charging per session or the client paying per session. If they're valuing it per session, there's only so much you can charge, you know. But if it's like it's a program, the sessions are one part of it. You're paying for the program. It's easier from there. So, and then if people are listening and they're like, well, you know, I don't like group or whatever, I think semi-private is a good option as well. If charged appropriately, though. The way I sort of look at semi-private is keep it as close to your one-on-one rates as you can. Let's say here in Australia anyway, right? Let's say you charge $80 a session for your one-on-one session. Okay, great. If you're going to then charge 4 people, don't make it $20 each. You know, it's like you're not really, you know, you're not doing any smarter. You're just making the same amount of money, but it's actually harder because then you've got 4 people there, right? But if it's like, hey, it's $60, you know, and there's 4 of you in there, all of a sudden, okay, $240 per hour, that's better. Still better for the client, you know? Hey, you know, if there's too many people in here, you want a personalized one, that's great. You know, it's going to be $80 or $100 or whatever it is, you know? So I think that's another way there, which is important. Tell me, Connie, you mentioned off air, you're also a fan of multiple income streams.
Yes. And that has been another, you know, savior for me, is like you said, you can only do so many hours of training in a week. And so for me, I love new challenges. And so if I was always doing the same thing, eventually you get tired of it and you drain out, and then your clients feel it, because, you know, if you feel it, your clients feel it. Right. And so, for me, education was always a big thing. And so I started certifying personal trainers back in 2006, up until, you know, basically.
Let me know how that works in Canada. Certifying personal trainers, so getting their initial certifications.
Yeah, exactly. So
You go, sorry.
Yep. So I was a pro trainer in Canada here with CanFit Pro. And so I certified personal trainers. So people that wanted to become personal trainers, they would go through the 25-hour course, which I taught. And then I would do their assessments, you know, their tests, their written tests, their practical tests, and then either pass or fail. So I certified through, was that?
Because this sounds like it's different to Australia. So let me get my head around how it works.
Yeah.
Someone wants to be a personal trainer.
Yep.
They need to do a personal training course.
Yep.
Did you, how can I put it? Did you create that course yourself and get it registered? How does that side of it work?
So I didn't, but I worked for, I was a contractor for CanFit Pro, which is a certifying, you know, body in Canada. So they had their courses and we were the, I guess you could say, master trainers. We taught their content and then we, you know, administered the tests. Your
business or theirs?
Well, I was the subcontractor. So you become an associate.
So whose job to get the students, yours or theirs?
Both.
Okay. So that obviously people would go on Google, become a personal trainer, CanFit Pro, great, I'm in this section of Ottawa. They'd be like, hey, you go and see, here's Connie Beaulieu, give her a call. Or, you know, you'd get an inquiry, you'd call them, you'd sell. Okay. And you'd get an hourly rate or a percentage per student? How does that?
So you, yes, you invoice per student. So, you know, the students pay the corporation or the organization, and then you invoice based on per head.
Okay.
So you're teaching over. Now things have changed because we're not in, you know, in person anymore. So a lot of this is done online now. And I was also teaching the nutrition, the healthy wellness coach certification as well. And so that was a much shorter course, but people still had their online exam.
Wow. That's
so I spent time in that education realm. And I knew I loved it. I also taught at the college. I taught fitness and wellness for our police foundations program, also the Canadian Armed Forces. So I taught there. And then I love continuing education. That's been like one of my biggest passions. That's what's kept me alive, is going to conferences, you know, networking with other people, growing with other people. And so I created that, you know, my own conference, Activate, which you were a part of this year. And I created that in 2014 for that reason, to offer the people in my city an opportunity to come out and have fun with other fitness professionals.
Love it. Interesting. It's so different to Australia, the initial qualification.
Really? Okay.
In Australia, so the way it works in Australia is there's registered training authorities, I think they're called, RTOs, right? And to become an RTO, you need to do a heap. You basically need to be a government organization. You know, you need to, I guess, similar to CanFit Pro, right? But there's heaps of them in Australia. You know, there's like 10 different, you know, organizations that will certify a trainer. But if you want to teach at those organizations, you're basically just a teacher, right? It's like, I'll pay you an hourly rate. You go and run the seminar or the session, and that's what it is. It's not really like a business, where it sounds like yours was a bit more like a business, right? It's like every student I get in, you know, it's extra income there. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's different, right? And I don't know if Australia, but we are unregulated. And so we actually have no certified, like, you know, head in Canada. There's no real hierarchy. There's no, you know, I know in the US, they do have, you know, they do have a bit more accreditation that way. I know they're still not accredited, but yeah.
Yeah, we got nothing. We're like Canada.
Same.
So, okay. And then question. So the first Activate FitCon, did you already have a big list of trainers, or how did that work the first time you did it?
So the first time I did it, we had 22 fitness professionals come.
They were your friends or your ex-clients, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You made them come to graduate.
Exactly. 22. But you know, the first year we did it, it was more of an expo, right? So like there was fitness enthusiasts that would come out, and we were doing more of like an educational fun weekend. And since then, we've really honed in more on the professional and personal development of fitness professionals and allied health. But so yes, 22, and then it just grew from there through relationship building. Actually, that's been the biggest thing for me, is through building relationships, helping, collaborating, working with other people. That's been the best part of Activate.
Love it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Connie, I want to be sensitive of your time. There's a few questions I always like to finish up with. The first one is around mentors. So you're obviously a mentor for plenty of fitness professionals out there, and I know you're doing even more now. I recommend every fitness professional follow Connie on Instagram. I'll put her link down in the handle. I'm curious to hear who your biggest mentors have been. And if you could answer this in a few different ways. So if you could give us one or two paid mentors, so someone that you've paid money to, you've done their course, you've hired them as a coach, whatever it may be, an unpaid mentor or two. So someone that you've never paid money to, but you follow them on Instagram, you watch their YouTube videos, you are in their Facebook group, whatever it is, and then the book or two that you recommend every fitness professional should read if they want to be successful in the fitness industry.
Yeah, that's a lot. I tell you, the longest mentor I've had is JC Santana from IHP down in Boca Raton, Florida. He is like one of the founding fathers of functional training. And so all of his training methodologies has been what's guided me through my whole career. It's basically how I design my programs, but beyond that, just his passion for the industry is still going strong in his 60s, right? So he is like one of my main mentors. Sergeant Ken, Sergeant Ken, he is one of my dearest friends and mentors, along with his wife, Stephanie. And so they are two of my, I guess you could say, coaching mentors. I really enjoy their personal development that I receive from them. I was part of the Todd Durkin Mastermind program, the TD Mastermind program for a while, Todd.
When were you in that, out of curiosity?
Oh gosh, this is like, at least 5 years ago.
Okay, because I was going to join around that time.
Okay, yeah, it was in the early years.
Yeah. I went to the IDEA convention 2014, 2015, something like that.
Actually, yeah, it was.
Would have been a bit
I do know when it was. It was 2014, only because Todd was a presenter at Activate, and it was around the same time. So
yeah. No, so I was thinking a bit later. I was thinking that would have been cool if you and me were in it together and we connected,
right?
Back then. But no, I didn't join, so we didn't. But okay, sorry. Continue on.
Yes, and so I would say those are my main mentors. To be honest, that is kind of who I've been following my whole career, and I like to find mentors here and there, right? So I don't always just stick to one person. Those are my main ones, but I love to see what everybody's doing. So I touch on everybody who has that kind of specialty. Even though I've been in it for 21 years, I don't claim myself as a know-it-all, and I love to just absorb information from other people and see how they're doing and how we can help each other out. And so yeah, everybody.
What about a book? Have you got a book that you read and changed your mindset, or a book that you recommend every fitness professional should read?
I just read actually the 15 Laws of Growth through John C. Maxwell. I know it's an older book, but it was it's amazing for where we are right now as far as growth and growing through this change that we are experiencing in the industry. And so I really enjoyed that one, and I did that with Sergeant Ken actually, and that one was really helpful. But there's been so many, gosh, I lose track.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, Connie, that's pretty much all I wanted to get through today. Is there anything I should have asked you but didn't, or anything you want to finish us off with?
I don't think so. I just, thank you for having me. I'm very passionate about what I do. I love to encourage other trainers to follow their passion, to know why they wake up in the morning, to service other people. Always serve people through the heart. It's not about the money, but the money will come if you are heart-centered. And just, we can have a very flourishing career in personal training and in the fitness world. So don't give up. And I know these are hard times, but we are meant for this. And so, yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time, Connie.
Thank you so much.